Welcome back to the Bacon Lodge. We're back to the new project series, which is this 2015 Skidoo 600 Sport. Basically the basic model you could get at the time. In this video, we're going to be putting basically it all back together. It's going to be a little bit out of order because I have to put the starter on after I put it in because, again, a new starter come in the mail because I used the old one for a different project. You don't necessarily have to take the whole top end off like I did for this. The reason why I did it was because the previous owner had taken it all off and he didn't reassemble a bunch of stuff like the crossbar going back isn't put in there. It's not tightened down. None of the electronics were plugged in, stuff like that. So I had to take it apart so that I could replug everything back in. Not that he did it wrong, it's just that that's how it's got to be because I want to make sure I go through everything and everything's correct. With that being said, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the engine put down into here. Okay, so we have the whole side of the engine all bay cleaned all up here. Usually I wouldn't pull all this out like I said. In the past I've always just taken the top end off in the chassis and it makes it so you don't have to tear everything apart, but everything is all put up there. The hose in the background there is kind of pinned up out of the way. All the cables are put up as best I can out of the way, and all the bolts are out of the mount, so we should be able to bring the engine over here and set it in. Okay, so I brought the engine, I just have it sitting here, and I'm going to do the oil cable. So hopefully you can see this. This is the oil cable. You got to fish it in there. There's a little slot. This one was a little bent, so I may have to mess with it a little bit. Get the damn wire up in there. There we go. Haha. There we go. And then a little washer on there. And you got your little E-clip or whatever they're called. Okay. And then pull it out and mount it on there. Okay, now the oil fill goes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the engine back in there. I'm going to put the hose onto here, but I'm not going to clamp it down. The reason why I'm not going to clamp it down is because I have to fill up the oil reservoir and I don't want it just kind of all spilling out. So I'm going to, after I fill up the oil reservoir with some oil, I'm going to come down here and just pull it off a little bit, let the oil bleed into here, and then I'll clamp it down. We'll see if I can get that on film. If I can't, I can't. Okay, that should be far enough. Yeah. A little bit further. I'm going to take this oil line, wiggle it on there like that. You can see where it's seated. I'm going to fish this down just a little bit so it's closer to where I need it for next time. I'm going to come over to the oil reservoir. I'm going to put in some, not a ton, in case it leaks. So I put some oil in there. But we want to see it come out this side. I got the oil there. Put the clamp on. Okie dokie. Looks all nice and pretty. So we got the mechanical oiler and the oil line on there. The two little oil ones here and here are put on there. There's probably a little bit of oil left in this, but we're going to pre-mix the oil to start anyhow. For the first tank, I like to run it pre-mixed. Now I'm going to try to wiggle this into where it's got to be. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okie dokie. So we have it setting in there now, setting down on the mounts. Okay, we're back underneath carburetors again, and I didn't do it before, but you see a little nipple there? That's where the top oil line has to go. So we're gonna get that right in there real quick. Try to do it without you going over. So it goes there. I actually got to take you out because I can't do it with you putting there, but that's where it would go. You have to connect the vacuum line there up to the fuel pump. The vacuum line is connected up, and you can see down there the last oil line is connected up. I still have, this is the carburetor fuel line. Back there is a carburetor antifreeze line. First you put your reeds in, then you take your boot, put it on there. And I'm gonna tighten up all the bolts out on there, and then there's another one you put on this side. Pretty simple. Okay, so the air boots are in there now. I gotta put the motor mount bolt in. I'm gonna put all 4 of them in, just finger tight, so that way they're all lined up. And the back two, I'm actually going to tighten down. These front two I'm going to leave off because I'm going to need to, or I'm going to leave them loose because I'm going to need to be able to move it around to put the starter in a little while. Just a quick reminder on this front motor mount here, make sure you put the ground strap onto it so that the starter will work when you want it to work. Now we're going to work on putting our freshly cleaned carburetors back in here. First really annoying thing we have to do is we got to go on the outside here, and there's the antifreeze line that's on the very far side. You want to connect that up before you do anything else because it's a pain in the ass to get to. So that's what we're going to do first. I don't know how much this you're actually going to be able to see because my arm's going to be in the way, but we're going to try. Well, I say that a lot, but it's the truth. I hate this stupid thing nobody uses. There we go. Okay, we're going to wiggle the carbs into the boots. Hopefully we'll loosen up the boots a little bit. Probably smarter to loosen these up before you put them on there, but one thing I really dislike about these is that there's no fuel shut off in here. I would rather see it have one in there, but so that's the next step, is to put this back on there. Here's the throttle. Now remember, I'm not a professional, so if I miss anything or you guys know how to do something better, just let me know. I'll do it better next time then. Next thing we have is the antifreeze line to go to the engine block. We're going to put that on there. Way up here. Still think it's one of the stupidest things they do because no one uses this for what it's supposed to be for. Because no one knows what it's supposed to be for around here, at least. It's supposed to heat your carburetor so your gas gets better combustion or something when it's really cold out. But you have to remember to come and open up this valve, which is, I've never seen anybody do it. We've got these two antifreeze lines that have to go back on top. There we go. Okay, on that on. Those on. Plugged in the temperature gauge. Oil lines are on. What we're going to do is we're going to put the air box back in. Air box. There we go. Well, that's everything on the intake side that we have to do. We're going to put the clutch and jack shaft back on. I took the gear box part on the other side, so that way I can just fish this through there. And then we'll go through the other side and put everything away. New gear oil and mount everything up in just a minute. 19 ounces of 2-stroke oil in here. I'm going to put it in there and then I'm going to top it off. It's not as strong as it would be at a full 50-to-1, but the oil system should make up the difference. But it's just to help break it in. It'll more than likely fall out at least one set of plugs during the break-in procedure, but I'd rather have it do that than burn down again. You know, this next part wouldn't be necessary if the previous owner didn't take it apart. I know I keep on ragging on the guy. He did what he thought he needed to do because he was trying to fix himself. But this triangular piece has to go back in there, and all of the corresponding bolts have to go in with it. You sons of bitches. Not like doing that because it's likely that it's going to screw up the threads, but I don't really see how I have much of a choice. We're back on the chain case side here, and you got to reinstall this. Got to loosen this chain tensioner up. Ah, good job. I did set the brake so that I can tighten this down, which locks the bottom gear because the brake is on the bottom on the other side. There we go. And we're going to tension this back up. It's a little too tight. Back off a little bit. I know you shouldn't use chain locks for that, but I was just too lazy to go get the cart wrench. Now we're just going to do a once over of the seal on here. Looks like brand new, so we can reuse it. Then we're going to go ahead and put all of the bolts in. Okay, so I got that all mounted back up. Still got to fill it up. But before I forget, I'm going to run the recoil here. I just got my I got a snow reflector stick here to help me out. A pair of vice grips holding it in place. Only tape I could find. Oh, buddy. Aha! Worked that time. A coat hanger or something would be better than this, but it's what I was able to find quickly. Then I'm just going to put it on here, tie a double knot, tuck it in there the best I can, release it, and there we go. We're gonna refill the chain case oil. I got my new starter here. We're gonna go through the process of putting this in here. I'm just gonna leave you on that side because I've tried to do it where I show you this on this side and it doesn't work. So to start, I just put this top bolt in here a little bit. Then I'm gonna do the back bolt with the bushing behind it. Okay. The reason why I left these only finger tight is so that I can pull this up to put that bottom bolt in. I'm going to jump the solenoid just to see if the starter works. I did put a battery in it just to... Woohoo! Now that I know I got the starter in there and it should function, I'm going to go ahead and put the 3 motor mounts on and tighten them all down. Okay, we're going to put the clutch on here now because we're over here already. A little bit of water in it because snow melting. I'm going to tap the solenoid again just to see if it'll turn this over. Woohoo! Cooking with Crisco there, buddy. Okay, the next thing you got to do is put on the exhaust manifold. So the exhaust manifold goes this way. You'll notice that the 2 inside ones have little gaps in it. So you can start the screws on there with the gaskets on it, and then you can fish this up underneath it. While I'm doing this, I wanted to ask, do you think it's worth having snowmobiles anymore? With the last few years, at least in the United States, in the Midwest at least, it's been a pretty shallow year. With it being such a shallow year, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to know everybody's opinions and if they think it's worth it or not anymore. Because, so we are in the middle of January, and I put up one of the snowmobiles that I fixed for sale. It's a slightly older version of this sled. It's actually another Rev XP, but evidently the prices have plummeted in the last few weeks, like extremely, which is kind of a big kick to the teeth. And I some of these I'd like to sell, but if I don't, I'll just keep them for the family to ride until next year when people get excited again and want to spend money on them. Sorry, you gotta see my elbow there. Kind of a lot of just wiggling in here. So go ahead and give me a comment on that or anything else you want to comment on for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those on there. I'll get back to you. Okay, now that the exhaust manifold is put back in there, you gotta put the ray valve back in. I'm just gonna put on new gaskets. Make sure the top faces up and the little hole is on the bottom. I did polish those up really good so that they're nice and clean. I'll do the same thing for the next one. I'll come back and tighten up those bolts once I'm done tightening the first part of this one down. Now that we got those all installed, we're going to fill up the antifreeze. I'm going to install the exhaust so that we can start putting everything together from the top. Get it in here. There we go. Things. Okay, the rest is just body assembly, so I'm just gonna do the rest of it on time lapse. When I'm all done, we'll see if we can get this thing to fire off. I have it assembled enough where I think we should try to start it. Yes. Now the carbs are dry, so it should crank for a little while before it actually starts. I want to see if we have spark. Okay, we got spark. Give it a little bit of go juice because I'm impatient. Okay, there we go. Nothing. Maybe I put it on choke. Leave it on choke for a while. Okay, I may have flooded it, so we're going to give it a few minutes. I'll check the spark plugs again.
So I spent some more time on this sled throughout the rest of the video, but I didn't get anywhere on it. Something going on with the fuel system that we'll get into next week. I can run the sled on starting fluid, so I know it's in the fuel system. It reminds me of that earlier sled this year, that 500SS, that Rev Model 1. It may be a fuel pump, it may be something in the line, I don't know. So we'll tear into that, and we'll get it figured out next week and go on from there. Thank you for watching. May God bless you and have a great day.